whole vibe of this situation is great. Obviously, you're from Buffalo, Rob, but being up here in the city right now, it's even on a snowy 15-degree day this morning, just went out on the porch, took a nice deep breath, and looked around and saw some other people doing the same, getting ready for, that late kick. I wish it was, the game was going at 9 a.m. this morning. I wish it was okay, but
Absolutely. Well, here we are. You're absolutely right. I know that the energy around the city has to be palpable because I feel it all the way down here in Charlotte. I woke up this morning with a little bit of nerves, and they were different nerves than last week. Last week, I was sure that the Bills were the better team than the Patriots. This week, I know it's going to be more of a fair fight, but my nerves are more along the lines that I know that we're on the precipice of something, and I know we're going to touch on the games from yesterday a little bit as well, but my nerves from today are kind of because I feel like today's like a de facto AFC Championship game, and that's no disrespect to the Bengals. Obviously, they're coming in, and they'll go to travel to Kansas City or to Buffalo next week, depending on who wins tonight. But, Adam, to be honest, man, my nerves are on edge because of the fact that I just feel like I'm so close to something, and I don't want it to slip through my fingers. What are your thoughts for today?
Yeah, and Rob, you said it there, no disrespect to the Bengals, but respect to the Chiefs and the Bills. Obviously, the Chiefs have, put themselves as the top team in the AFC for consecutive years now, and the Bills have kind of, their whole deal has been built themselves to beat the Chiefs. And I think, in the early age of Josh Allen coming in, and this kind of the Bean McDermott era, Josh Allen era coming in, and we were taking it. It was all plus money. It was all house money when they were making the playoffs, 7 winning seasons.
Mm-hmm.
We hadn't seen it in a while, so we were just kind of enjoying the ride. But this year, it feels a little different, Rob. It really does. It feels, they deserve to be here, and they have the swagger to be here. And it's not the underdog story anymore. It's this roster is built to beat the Kansas City Chiefs, and we have a good opportunity tonight at 6:30 in Arrowhead, and I don't think they're playing games. I think it was not that they, in a sense, were didn't think they had a shot last year, but it was still one of those happy to be here type vibes. I know for the city, and I'm sure for the team that didn't, probably a lot of them didn't expect to be in that position. So in this case right now, we're head to head. It's all out on the table, and it couldn't be more even. I was just looking through the betting lines here this morning, and the public's with the Chiefs a little bit, but the money is with the Bills, and it's really public. It's a 50-50. It's a toss-up.
Yeah, I think the line started at 3 earlier this week, Adam, and then it's just been beaten down because all the money on the Bills, and now you're right, it's down to 1. I'm looking now on Bet Online, and it's down to 1. So it's damn near a pick 'em. You normally with the home team you get 3 points. So obviously everybody thinks that the Bills have a good shot, and I know that they do. You said it so perfectly. Last year I was happy to be there. I had no anticipation that we're going to be in the AFC Championship game, and then obviously we get there, and that iconic photo of Stephon Diggs on the field. Talk to me about this game, Adam, because the real difference for me, Week 5, I understand that both teams are different. I was just speaking about this with Jermaine last segment. The difference for me is that Week 5 gave me a little bit more confidence, but I know that both teams are different. I know that, they'll tell you, Chiefs fans will tell you that Chris Jones didn't play. They'll tell you that they hadn't traded for Melvin Ingram yet. They'll tell you that their defense is playing much better. And obviously Patrick Mahomes was going through a little funk early in the year where he was throwing a lot of picks. They're a better team, but I'll play devil's advocate. We're a better team too. We're not the same football team as either.
Oh, yeah.
And I just wanted to get your thoughts on that because I feel a lot better about this matchup than I did last year in the AFC Championship game, to be quite frank.
Champions and look at past Super Bowl runs. Even last year was a perfect example, with the Tampa Bay Bucks. A team, it's not just the chalk team every year, that runs up and the top seed from the beginning all the way to the end, number 1 seed in the playoffs all the way to the Super Bowl. And it usually, does not end like that. So a perfect example with the Bucks last year of kind of just finding the right method for that team and getting on the roll at the right time, to jolt them into the Super Bowl for a championship, and this is, the field that the Bills need to have, and I think do have, and, obviously had some bumps during the season, but it was kind of a parity year where a lot of teams that were up there had the bumps,
Absolutely.
The 1 seed had 5 losses, so it's a season where it's kind of up for grabs, teams are still there playing for it right now. With the Chiefs and the Bills, we knew we would see them again, and we knew the storybook is written. This is a great story for the Bills to make a run this year. You know, with a few bumps, Josh Allen finally coming into his deal and breaking, instead of that underdog story, it's we got the swagger. This is our team. This is the team that's going to win the Super Bowl swagger. And you know, I think that's what they're going to bring in there tonight. It's the storybook. You know, they're hitting at the right time. They finally took down the Patriots after years and years and years in a great, the perfect game, perfection in Orchard Park.
Thanks for the shout out. DT.
You know, with that, you know, didn't think we would win the division, and then fought back and, you know, really kind of won it without sweating at the end of the year there. And then easy win last week. I think this is the storybook to now the next chapter is, okay, now this Chiefs team that's been punching in the mouth there the last couple of years, here they are right in front of you. It can't be more even. It can't be more healthy. This is the opportunity to do it. And you're looking, we mentioned the Bengals, and you mentioned, you know, a lot of young quarterbacks, a lot of young teams coming up in this AFC. As the Bills, yes, are going to keep this roster for a while, there's other teams out there that are going to be getting good.
That's right.
So this is not saying it's this year or nothing, but you know, you don't like your chances as all these other teams start to get better and better, you know, in the future years. So I think that rolls into it as well. Of, you know, the window of opportunity isn't big in this league.
You're literally, I can't tell if this is a joke or not, because I swear for the audience, I did not speak to Adam about some of my notes before today. You're taking the notes literally off of my computer. You're taking them off my computer. Listen, I had made the title for this episode, and then I said, well, I'll probably have to switch it. But the title was going to be, and maybe it has to go back to, the window is open now. I was thinking about that exact same thing, Adam, and I want you to speak to it just a little bit more if you can and touch on it. Rosters change in this league. Let's just be real for a quick second. Rosters change. I know that everybody was happy when Josh Allen got the bag, and I had no problem with him getting the bag, and congratulations to him and his family for him getting the bag, the $150 million man. However, eventually, the chickens come home to roost a little bit. And what I mean by that is that the salary cap in the NFL is hard. You're going to have to make decisions financially in the future on some of these players. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that the team is going to be a complete makeover from what you're going to see today at 6:30. However, Adam, I will contest that the team's going to look different than it does today in future years with Josh Allen's contract coming down the pipe. So having said that, I feel like this year is the year to go get it. Last year, like you just spoke to it, it was more of a surprise, and we were happy to be here and happy to be a part of the party. This year, I feel like this is something that's on the table where I don't know how we're going to feel in 3-4 years if we look back on the season and we didn't get this title, because of the fact, at least the Super Bowl berth. Well, let's just start there. Let's get back to the Super Bowl, get to our 5th appearance, and then go from there, because the windows don't stay open. And I'll be honest, man, it may feel good to say that, yeah, we got Josh Allen, 6-year contract extension. He's here forever. It's going to be great forever. The NFL does not work that way. And if you could just speak to it a little bit more.
Yeah, and if you kind of look at it in the rotation there, you know, the Kansas City Chiefs, same deal. You know, that roster isn't going to be there forever. You know, Mahomes obviously will be kind of the nucleus of that team for a long time, but it's going to change around them, and they're not always going to be the top dog in the NFC. So, but they're also a couple of years ahead on the Bills side. You know what I mean? So they got their Super Bowl. They've been in the NFC Championship every year. So as the tide starts to turn with them, they're going to start changing. But they're 1 to 2 years ahead of the Bills in that regard.
Right.
So as the Bills start changing, the Chiefs are already 2 years ahead of them changing. You know, and it's all a rotation door. And then the teams behind the Bills are going to start coming up. So there's no better year than right now, to go out and get it. The health on the roster, I think, is something that goes right into that as well. I mean, it's unheard of to have a Bills roster like this. Like, for the past couple of years, really, the team has been very, very healthy. You know, obviously, Trey White, huge loss for the team, and I think we're going to see that tonight. Haven't noticed it really since he's been out in Thanksgiving, but I think we're going to notice it a little tonight without Trey White back there. But for the most part, a full, healthy team.
Yep.
And you don't see that in the NFL, and definitely, as we talked, the window is so small, and it's got to be. It's got to be this team. It's got to be this year. It's going to be, not to say that they're done after this year, but the pieces are there. The swagger's there. Last year, what was maybe the biggest flaw? The defense.
The defense, yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Could play, but couldn't stop in big games.
Yep.
Down the stretch this year, defense has been nothing but nails. So, and the offense has looked just as good. So, the defense is coming back with full health. The offense is just as good. What other excuse, what other perfect time can this be? Where else if you drew it out and wrote it down, what's a more perfect time than right now? I mean, what else would you write down that would make it better than right now to go in the Super Bowl?
No, I can't think of anything. When that kick went through the uprights yesterday, I did yell out of the yell. I had a little scream in the house, and my son was watching it with me, and Lex was watching it with me, and we were kind of just like, okay, well, it looks like we have an opportunity to go back home. So I don't want to count, my eggs before they hatch, and I understand that. And listen, the Bills have an opportunity in front of them that is unique. I think the fact that we have a chance to go back to Arrowhead and exercise those demons around earlier is fine with me. I don't, the way that the schedule worked out and the way that the wins kind of tallied up at the end of the year with the tiebreakers, it stinks that, Josh Allen slipped in Tennessee. It stinks that we laid a clunker in Jacksonville and missed out on that number 1 seed. However, it kind of works out. I would rather play Kansas City today. I'm ready to get that over with. I mean, and that's win or loss, and I understand that, Bills fans, we always want to talk about glass half full, and for the most part, we're always thinking the best of our team. We could lose today, obviously. It's a football game. It's a contest. These guys are pros on the other side. As you said, they've been to 3 straight AFC championship games, so they're a formidable foe. But the fact that we're meeting them in the divisional round, it's kind of juicy to me. I like the fact that we have a chance to go back home and host Cincinnati. I like the fact that we get a chance to go back to the scene of the crime of the AFC championship game last year and kind of exercise those demons. It's kind of the exorcism, tour right now with the way last week went and the perfect game that they played last week. So I'm not scared of Kansas City. I'm confident of the team. I'm just so my stomach's in knots. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm such a big fan, and I'm so invested in their outcomes of these games that I am in knots over here. To be honest with you, Adam.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, Rod. And I said, if you don't win the Super Bowl by luck, and that was with everyone kind of like, I don't want to get matched up against the Chiefs in the playoffs, or I'd rather play here, I'd rather play there. It's the playoffs, baby. You got to strap up and play whoever's in front of you, straight up.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to be a contender, you can't be afraid of going on the road to Kansas City, And I don't think the Bills are. And it's not a luck thing to try to get the best seed and the best matchup and anything like that. It's the playoffs. You play, you strap up, and you got to play who's in front of you no matter what. And being a contender, you can't be scared of anybody. I'm definitely not scared going into tonight. I obviously am aware that they could lose the game, but I'm not scared to go in there and make it happen. I mean, you talk about with the Bengals, kicking the field goal at the end, opportunity to have that home game next week. The Chiefs are in the same boat.
That's right.
Kick that field goal, and the Chiefs said, "Shit, we can have a home game next week."
You're right.
I'm not too worried about the deal of like, I hope we're not too focused on getting the home game and not focused on the night game, because the Chiefs are in the same exact boat.
Absolutely. And one thing that Sean McDermott has done. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm not scared today.
Yeah, no, and I was going to say one thing that Sean McDermott has done, and to his credit, is that they do seem incredibly on task. Now, that's one thing that you can say about this team since he's shown up in 2017. Now, we might make fun and poke fun at, trust the process and all this other stuff and finding a way. He's got his little slogans, as all coaches do, but he does keep this team on task. They don't ever seem like they're looking ahead. They've never really got caught in the trap game. Last year, they had such a remarkable season, and only thing that really was the hiccup was the Hail Murray, and then right after that, they were clicking on all cylinders. This year has been a little bit more rocky, for sure. It's been a little bit more up and down. Either way, it seems like the team is incredibly focused at all times on the task at hand. You saw that last week with the performance